Yeah.
No.
Good evening, everybody. We'll be getting started in about 5 minutes. Thank you.
On your call, Madam President.
Trenton City Council meeting Thursday, June the 6th, 5:30 p.m. Let us call this meeting to order. Please stand for the flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act pursuant to Public Laws 1975, Chapter 231. This agenda is complete to the extent known and was sent to the Trenton Times and the Trentonian newspapers, posted on the first floor bulletin board in City Hall, filed in the city clerk's office, and posted on the City of Trenton website. Formal action will be taken. Mr. Garcia.
Certainly. Roll call. Councilwoman Edwards.
Present.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg, for the record, is excused from this meeting. Councilwoman Frisbee.
Present.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Presente.
Councilman Harrison.
Present.
Councilwoman Williams.
Present y presente.
Council President Feliciano.
Present.
Myself, Brandon Garcia, Municipal Clerk, present. Mr. Edward Kaloji, Legislative Counsel, present. Thank you. And Assistant City Attorney Scott Micchio.
Present.
Thank you. And Madam President, if it's your wish, I will read the invocation.
Yes, thank you.
As soon as I can find it. See if I can do this off the top of my head. Almighty God, no, I cannot. Hold on one second for me. We are not. Almighty God, who holds the fate of man and nation, we humbly beseech thee to hold this, our deliberations, our deliberations, and these thy, I am trying to remember this off the top of my heart. However, I cannot. I apologize, Madam President.
That's okay. Lord, we thank you for the day, and we thank you for the time and for the deliberations. We ask that you cover the council and the people, and that we rule in order and decency. Thank you. Amen.
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 Mr. Garcia.
Certainly, Madam President. Moving on with the agenda, I understand we have presentation this evening for advice and consent appointment of Maciel Medina Ferreira, and that will be by Mr. Mayor Reed Gusiora.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President and members of the council. Thank you for the opportunity to address you today. I'm here to seek your advice and consent on the appointment of our new Director of the Housing and Economic Development Department.
I'm gonna get the police reports.
Uh-huh.
And the final and body cam. That I got the
Our new HED director, Maciel Medina Ferreira. The selection of this new director was conducted in collaboration with the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs. We reviewed over 20 resumes from highly qualified candidates, each bringing a wealth of experience and a vision for Trenton's future. After careful consideration, I appointed Maciel Medina Ferreira, a licensed professional planner and public manager, to this crucial role on March 20th, 2024 as the acting director. In her short time as acting director, Maciel has demonstrated exceptional leadership and initiative. She has conducted a thorough review of our staffing needs, assessed our demolition program, issued an RFP for the redevelopment of Enterprise Avenue. Additionally, she has reviewed our prior RFPs for Roebling Block 2 to begin the planning of a reissuance of a new RFP, and has begun the critical work of planning our proposed house auction in the coming months. Maciel is also proactively engaged with local business leaders, other stakeholders, ensuring their voices are heard and integrated into our plans. Ms. Ferreira's resume speaks volumes about her capabilities and achievements. She has a proven track record in managing multifaceted projects, directing large-scale infrastructure programs, and delivering effective supervision and service in fast-paced environments. Her core competencies include area planning and zoning, transportation planning, grant management and writing skills, and urban redevelopment projects. Maciel has extensive experience working with various municipalities where she has overseen development applications, conducted zoning analysis, and created planning reports. She has successfully managed park design and construction projects, supported HUD community development block grant applications, and coordinated streetscape design projects. In her previous roles, Maciel has directed department functions involving parks, community development, and housing. She has spearheaded capital projects, coordinated hazard mitigation planning, and managing open space trust funds, demonstrating her ability to drive significant improvements and foster community resilience. Maciel holds a master's degree in urban planning from NYU and a bachelor's degree in sociology from Boston College. She's a licensed professional planner and a certified member of an American Institute Certified Planners. Her professional affiliations include current membership in the New Jersey Economic Development Authority and several planning associations. I think Maciel will fit perfectly in the Trenton landscape. Her people approach of working together and collaboration is what the city needs to move us all forward. I respectfully ask you for her advice and consent for the appointment as director of our HED department. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Do any council members have any questions at this time?
Council President.
Councilwoman Williams.
I'll give everybody else a chance first. I have a few questions I'd like to ask.
Go ahead, thank you.
So, Mayor, one of the things having had a chance to get to know Ms. Ferreira since she's been working in our city the past few months, I'm very, very impressed with her knowledge, some of the conversations we've been able to have, and her being able to relate Trenton to some of her past experiences, and kind of hearing some of her rather expansive ideas, and I thought innovative ideas, and also some things there I think that we've needed to face as a city that we've been avoiding for a long time and taking ideas from other places. So I'd like to know what impressed you most when you interviewed and spoke with her the first time.
Well, I think her planning experience, when you talk to her, that was one of the things that we have fell behind in our planning, our redevelopment zones, and making sure that, I'll give you an example. For instance, the properties that JoJo's Steakhouse occupy are not in a redevelopment area. We've cleared that area, and it is too important just to put up for a city auction. And we'd like to have it as a area in need of rehabilitation. Maciel has spearheaded talking to a planner. The other part is our bandwidth at the zoning board to do all of that groundwork. Well, we're working with a consultant to write a report so the zoning board will be able to facilitate changing that into a rehabilitation zone, so we then can work with the developer. So I think it's her hands-on approach that she could problem solve based on her vast experience in planning, and I think that's going to be really good. Some people want to look for a redeveloper, magic redeveloper, but I think that the planning aspect is so much more important to make sure the groundwork is taken care of, and that was my sole consideration.
Okay, and then my second question is regarding making changes as we go forward into this, further our this decade of 2020s, to try to update what we need to do as far as redevelopment, economic development, bringing jobs in the city. How do you see Ms. Ferrer coming on board and maybe changing that approach? And what can we expect to see in the coming years?
I think unlike other directors, her ability to work with people and have that conversation, I've seen firsthand Maciel work with the Latino merchants, work with the African-American Chamber of Commerce, work with Greater Trenton, and facilitate the necessary conversations to get everybody on the same page. So I think a people-orientated approach is so important. We know that Trenton, at the end of the day, is a small town with a big community, and there's many working parts and many stakeholders. Bringing all those stakeholders together is important, and it's the ability to have those conversations and communicate what's important for the city of Trenton, and to actually have a vision for where we want to take the city in 5 years from now, in 20 years from now, and further on.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Madam President. So Mayor, you mentioned that Maciel has been making great connections within the community, and I think that's absolutely phenomenal, especially being proactive. One of the areas that I'm always concerned about is when we have new directors and staff coming on, is the inner office. So one of the things I just want to make sure that we do is that she has a plan in action where she actually has meetings with her immediate staff. So they're actually getting her views, and they can get to know her and she can get to know them. Communication is extremely important. And the more we communicate with each other, the stronger we are. So I would just like to make sure that we emphasize that there is good communication so that our department stays stronger, that we have the 3-month evaluation, or however we do it, 6-month, whatever that is, but that everybody in the office knows they're being heard, and they also get to have that one-on-one with her as well.
One of the good things in the partnership with DCA and our oversight and our MOU, they actually sat down with every single employee in the H&D department. Maciel was able to review that and then also independently speak with all staff members. So she's able to look at the strengths and weaknesses of the department, how to expand the bandwidth, so to speak, and how to maximize everyone's potential, where their strongest points are, where we need to get supplementary people on the ground.
Thank you, sir. I just want to make sure that if there are areas that might need assistance, like you said, there may be some that are strong, some that not so strong. So as long as we are making sure that they have the assistance where they need it, and support, actually, I think that's the better word. That's all I'm concerned right about right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other council members? Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Should we introduce Maciel?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Just want to make sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good evening, council members. Maciel Medina Ferrara, Acting Director of HED. Good evening. Would you like me to give an overview of my experience or would you just prefer to ask questions? Let me know how you would like to.
So the mayor has introduced you to us, right? And pretty much given us an overview of who you are. From my perspective, if you wouldn't mind, tell us from your experience in coming in here, key areas within your unit that need the most attention and how you would plan to tackle, right? So if you were to tell us 3 things that you see are, they need immediate attention or fix, what those 3 things are, and if there's a plan, what's your plan to address that? And then we'll open it up if council has questions for her, then we'll go ahead and you'll ask the questions. Thank you.
Okay. Well, first things first, as the mayor may have provided some introductions on, is the staffing capacity. That has become very apparent in terms of whether it be residents, the boards, planning, zoning, landmarks, and at some point probably the rent stabilization board as well. That is something that I am very, very focused on. We have critical positions within the department that need to be filled. Those have become my high priority. I've been working with the administration and our personnel department to have those positions filled as soon as possible. And when I'm speaking to having a full planning staff, as well as a zoning officer, some very critical code inspection for our housing and commercial units. So that is I want to say from the minute I hit the ground has been a very high priority. Also, as the mayor mentioned, we wanted to make sure that our redevelopment plans that either are currently in place are working accurately and working with our development community to making sure that those plans are being effectuated as we adopted them. And those that are not being done, we reevaluate them. And if we have to sunset them and then start the process again. I'm a planner by training, but I also believe that, plans that sat on the shelf for 5 years, 10 years, just really always need to be reevaluated and reassessed to make sure that it actually is addressing the current situation and environment on the ground. And the third thing, and in speaking to Councilwoman Frisbee's recommendation, I have spent a lot of time trying to assess my current staff and the things they need in terms of making sure that they have the appropriate licensing, the appropriate training, making sure that they are aware of the new land development regulations and things like that affect their day-to-day jobs, making sure that our employees in housing and inspections have the appropriate licensing to be able to do the job. We are now embarking on lead testing, so we made sure that our inspectors are certified for that. So a lot of my initial work in the last 3 months is to make sure that our staffing capacity has been addressed, our current redevelopment plans, start that process of reassessing those, and then making sure that our current staff is accurately trained and licensed.
Any other council people have any questions for Ms. Ferreira?
I have one question, Council President.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Good evening, Director. Just a quick question. As far I heard him mention the auction, the auction list that you're creating, how do we plan to advertise that or let the public know how that's going to be done?
So the council has already approved 2 third-party auction firms to participate and prepare that auction list. So once that auction list is determined, fully vetted, the properties are secure. We've had incidents where we've had properties on an auction list. We had to pull them back because we actually found that they're being occupied. And we had to take care of those, bring in our other departments to make sure those people can be relocated safely. With that being said, once that's done and we have that solid list and we feel comfortable doing that, we will have an email distribution blast. We will have paper where necessary, mailings to the list that we currently have. We will obviously work with Paul Harris and our communications department, making sure it's notified on the city website. plus the Housing Authority, any other, I would say, entity partners that we deal with on home ownership and new homeowners that may be interested, let them know this is the time and place that the auction is going to happen, and this is where they can find the listing and how to participate. So I welcome your feedback on, I think even before we even actually do the auction, I'll probably prepare kind of a communication list and say, this is the websites that we're going to be posting, the targeted groups, stakeholder groups, and for everybody to review. If there's, I'm new to the city, I welcome your feedback. So that if you can, give us any recommendations, we will make sure that, we do our best effort to make sure everyone's notified.
Thank you. First, I should have started out with saying thank you, because I know you kind of hit the ground running since you've been here. So thank you for your work that you have been doing lately. But another question so it's not really a question, I guess something to think about. And I don't know if it's something that we can all do, if it's, legalities, because we've been kind of going back and forth about it, but the LLCs that continue to buy up our property and not take care of the tenants, number one, or the houses. And so, just trying to combat that challenge that we face here in the city, because we have a lot of these LLCs that continue to purchase properties, but they're not taken care of. They have tons of fines and summons, as you and I have discussed before, about, just taking care of their property and making sure that our tenants are living in something that is decent. That's all. Thank you.
Well, it is difficult because, the LLC and the corporation is something that's kind of pretty much handed to us by the state, how that is done. But within that environment, I have been working with staff, and particularly the housing division, that and inspections, when they come in for permits, that we make sure we get a physical point of contact. And I think my other fellow directors are kind of doing the same thing whenever there's something that they can touch and kind of get real, actual physical contact from anyone that's trying to do business with the city, because I think that's where we get the opportunity to really be able to ask them for that information. When they come in for permits, approvals, or whatever it may be, that's where we can get and start to clean that up. And I welcome your feedback, because I know LLC is, I'm a big believer. I don't want slumlords. I don't want absentee landlords. I want people really focus on the city and its health and its redevelopment. And we really don't want those. Those type of individuals and LLCs are not our partners in that effort.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. I'm coming to y'all. I'm glad to hear that, because that was a major concern. We kept seeing different things coming and we're asking, but at one time we were told that they could just come in under the name of the LLC and never give us anyone. And so as we were looking at different problems and things happening, the questions were being asked before you got here. So I am so glad that you are going to be looking into that, so that we can know what's going on and be able to touch these people and not deal with them, especially from the standpoint of an LLC having property and something going wrong with it, and then a partner or owner in the LLC on the document under the separate name. We're going to be able to make the correlation so that we can be able to flag and see what's going on. So thank you for that. Councilwoman Williams.
Thank you, ma'am. So I just want to first thank you very much for all the work you've done so far for our city, but also I do want to echo what both of my colleagues just mentioned about LLCs. It's a massive problem in the city. It's something, as soon as we came into office, all of us, before we even took office and certainly afterward, many of our fellow citizens are extremely concerned with these LLCs, to the point of when they even purchase properties at auction, they sit on them. So I know there's been talk about having stronger sunset provisions. I hope that goes forward. But also the issue of, if a property is to move to auction, that a Trentonian living next door as a property owner has a right to purchase first. And that is something that I really would like to see our city move towards, to at least give people a fair chance to have a property if they so desire. I do have some questions. So I was really glad to hear that you're going to be running on hiring a full planning staff and zoning officers, and hopefully more inspectors with that, because that has been a big complaint, and it's something we have to be very mindful of, because it's hard enough when we have planning, zoning, and landmarks, and they don't have enough folks for a quorum. But when we don't have a planning staff to be able to develop the planning and the zoning packets to get to them and keep the city moving forward, that's just like shooting ourselves in the feet. So with that, do you have a guesstimate of how long it might take to replace, like Ray Buki retired? We also have other inspectors and other officers who are at an age. They're doing good work, but we have so much work for them. We really need to have a farm team to be able to replace them and hopefully have some folks to be able to supplement them. So then we can have quality, not just quantity. And I was wondering, what's the plan for that?
So immediately, we have a transportation planner that will be starting with us shortly, as well as we have a candidate that I'm going to put forward for the zoning officer position. So those two positions are in the works, if not going to hopefully be filled either within the month of June or sometime in the early July. The other thing that I'm doing is I'm reposting in multiple websites for other additional planning positions, just outside of the typical Star Ledger or whatever, just so that I know when I responded to the posting, it described Trenton and its challenges, and it brought me in. And I think I need to take that same approach with other planners, because a typical posting doesn't really describe the opportunities for an up and coming planner or a seasoned planner to see Trenton as a great place to work. So some of those old job postings, I'm revamping them, and I'm going to post out in other, posted with the university, Rutgers School, the Blousting School of Planning, and all our other local Mercer Community College. So I'm going to try to take a more proactive and outreach approach to trying to fill those critical positions with very qualified candidates. In the interim, I have asked our current board consultants, our planning consultant, our two engineering consultants, as well as our land use attorney, to assist us a little bit more hands-on with the board applications as we fill those positions, and making sure that the board functions without further delay. And then also, making sure that one of the things that I have been working with the staff is to address all that backlog that we had, things that kind of just were submitted, but to this point, because of the lack of the planning staff and zoning, we weren't able to get to. So that's a big focus, trying to make those things, finish those reviews and get them on the planning board, zoning board, and landmarks docket. And Scott's here. I'm also working with Scott to make sure our landmarks board is also made sure their ordinance is up to date with DCA. I'm sorry, with the State Historic SHPO office, as well as making sure our membership is, well established, because we do have some vacancies. And I've asked the clerk's office to give me information on the board membership and their terms and any training that they may or may not have had for the planning and the zoning board. So board composition is very important. I am working on that, even though we are still, working on trying to increase our staffing capacity. I haven't forgotten about the boards. I want them to be able to function as best as they can until we are at full capacity.
Okay, that's really great to hear. Thank you, because for many years people weren't getting trained. I know when I first came on zoning in 2008, I had to do a full day training in Bordentown. I believe it was even for 2 days. People from a whole state came to it. So it's extremely important that we reestablish that. And even I would love to see our city host a training. So hopefully that's something we can also do at some point. So those are that's a lot of good information. I also have a question regarding, and this might be more with law department statute, but removing board members for non-attendance. That's been historically a big problem that we haven't faced. I don't know that we have an exact bylaws or a process for that, but that would be something that we really need to make sure that we handle pretty soon. Because unfortunately, even though this council has been great on filling zoning board positions and alternate positions, apparently the past several months we've had issues with zoning quorums, and in the past the other boards have had that too. So it would be great if we can kind of put an end to that very soon.
Yeah, in reviewing of the board, I did ask for term limits and the board professionals for their attendance records as well. And those will be evaluated as part of a kind of pretty much a recommendation by board to the administration and finally to council to, if they haven't attended meetings and have no real interest, we'll reach out to them and give them an opportunity to express if they want to renew attending meetings and participating. But if they don't, that's okay. But we need to, as a city, we need to move forward, and we have to make sure our boards have appointed members.
Well, thank you very much, ma'am. Appreciate that.
Councilwoman Frisbee, and then Councilwoman Edwards.
Thank you, Council President. So one, I want to thank you for what you have done so far already in the city. And I do want to thank Councilwoman Gonzalez for asking the question about the LLC. That is something that we've been knocking the doors down with driving our Chief of Staff, Beach, and BA crews nuts with over the last few months about how do we get a better control on that, not having names and letting people be able to change names has been a big thorn. People have been coming into the city and changing a name just so they can get in and buy land and still not do what they're supposed to do with our current constituents. So thank you for addressing that. I do want to thank you also for addressing my question, but I think that I heard you say that you've assessed your staff and you've made sure they have the tools that they need in order to make sure they can get their job done. My question is, have you had a one-on-one with them? That's the important part, is because it's one thing to come in and, you assess, you see where the voids are, but talking to them, not so much in group, but in individually, because you'll get more out of people when you talk to them one-on-one. So that is my question. Have you had the one-on-one? And if yes, then fantastic. If you have not, is that something that you plan on doing with your staff?
I have had one-on-one, and I also am in the process of setting biweekly meetings by unit.
Awesome.
Right now, the way the department is set up, we have a planning unit, we have a real estate unit, we have housing inspections, we have an economic development where UEZ falls into that as well, and we have a commercial buildings inspection unit. So I'm trying my best to make sure that I meet with all those individual units, the supervisors is in those units, on a 2-week basis, just them, so that we can discuss their specifics. In terms of meeting with the staff one-on-one, I'm very hands-on. I have met with them on a particular projects. I've also asked them to give me a list of what they're working on, to making sure that no one particular staff member is overworked or overloaded. I am part of, and a lot of this is because I'm worried, I worry about the backlog and how we can address it. And if I have to reassign things, I need to understand that from the perspective of the staffer. What's either hindering their performance or their inability to get to a particular workload, whether it be zoning permit reviews or whatever it may be. How can I do, what can we do in the short term until we get additional staff? So I have kind of an interim plan to assist staff to get us where we need to be and get rid of any sort of backlog, make sure the boards are running smoothly, as well as, letting them know that whatever they need from me to get them, to equip them. One of the things that we're going to do, we received a grant from DVRPC, the Delaware Valley Planning Commission, to buy new tablets, new computers, and other field software. So I reached out to all the supervisors once again, speak to your staff, tell me what you need. Housing, let us know that all their tablets are out of date. So I have a very, one-on-one pretty much almost every day with either one of the supervisors, as well as now I'm going to be meeting with the units specifically so they can let me know what's their concerns and things that I can do. And the other thing is I have been hands-on on all the potential vacancies that we have and in the interviewing process. I have my supervisors, I'm in those interviews with them, so I don't delegate that. I always make sure that I'm with them so that we can decide on a qualified candidate together.
Thank you.
Madam President. Thank you. Good evening, Ms. Maciel.
Good evening.
Thank you. This resume is impressive.
Thank you.
And I have had the pleasure of having a conversation with you, and I love some of your vision and ideas that you have for the department. And in that conversation, we talked about accessibility to city-owned properties for Trenton residents. And I know there may not be a way to strictly have something specifically for that because it has to be open and fair. But I wanted to know, because there are a lot of residents that are reaching out to say there's no list, they cannot obtain a list of city-owned properties to shop from to see if they can get their hands on something and renovate them and live there. So we have a high number of renters in the city. And as we know, with inflation, we're being outpriced of our community. So it's even more pertinent now than ever for us to help our residents achieve home ownership. So I want to definitely encourage opportunities for current residents if there's some type of way. And I would love to know, as council members, as legislators, if there's anything that we can do, anything that we can adopt, maybe that the state has or some other municipality is doing, and adopt that here to create opportunities for Trenton residents, because the auctions are not working for our residents. We're being priced out by people outside of our community that ends up being slumlords or ends up not doing anything with the properties that they purchase because, honestly speaking, they're using them as tax write-offs and things like that. So, and that's a hindrance to our community, and it's driving down property values, it's driving down our neighborhood. So I would like to ask you, what can we do as council members to support, and what is your vision or thought process for that?
So one of the things that I've mentioned to the mayor and Mr. Cruz and Mr. Beach is that what I realized, what I'd like to try to develop through the department, and obviously with the administration support and council support, is a minority-owned, women-owned business initiative, where what we're finding is that we've got well-intentioned residents, but they are ill-equipped right now with lack of training and business know-how on, how to do business, how to get themselves fully licensed, things like that. And I have spoken to Greater Trenton and see if we can start working on a training program. There's other, high-profile developers that are interested in that as well, because they do want to be able to hire contractors that live and work in the city. It's just we don't have a mechanism. And unfortunately, I've had this experience, particularly with Hudson County, where it was very necessary. And we started kind of very at the basic level of giving instructions to small business owners, women-owned business owners, minority-owned business owners, and Hudson County residents to just how to do business with the city, how to do business with the county. And because that was easy for us to do. And then we expanded those training programs and that network to address of how to do business with large companies. We have a great, we have two good, very well-established health industries here in the city, how we can have individuals, small business owners have contracts with those. We have the state offices here, how can they participate in the state procurement process? So that, I think, is something that we can definitely work on, and I will definitely reach out to all of you, because for those of you who are at large, as well as those of you who represent the boards, it would be good for us to let us know what we should target. What do you see? And I'd appreciate your feedback on that. But I think that's very important, because I think that way, when the auction list comes out, and we will, and I'm going to answer another aspect of the auction list. At least we have started to prepare our residents to be able to engage in the auction list, because they have been trained, they have received their license, they know what to do. In my past experience, sometimes even helping individuals improve their credit rating. Something as, starting with just that. Some individuals just don't have they don't have the credit rating to be able to get the lending that they need. So that is something that, we can definitely work on. And I would seek, partnerships with our nonprofit agencies, Greater Trenton and other chambers, to give us feedback on that. In terms of the auction list and notifying residents, I will work with the third-party team to the third-party auction firms to make sure that we've included, like I said previously, I will kind of put together a communications list to make sure that we've covered everything. And I've also asked the staff to prepare kind of a summary, just a brief summary of the past auctions and lessons learned. Because what I would like to see in the foreseeable future is that us to move on to online auction and ongoing auction. So whenever a property becomes available, we just put it on but that is something that's more of a long-term focus. I wouldn't estimate that I could probably have the department ready to be able to engage in that in this year. And that might have to be something that we can work on to going into 2025. But that I think because that would make us kind of handle auctions like other cities do.
Awesome. I love that you said you want to include the residents, because that was my next point is a lot of people, we haven't had an auction in a while, but we do have redevelopment zones that don't require an auction. So putting in an offer for that, filling out the application and things like that, some of that is intimidating. And I love that you touched on the point of educating and training and certifying people for these auctions, but also doing that for the ones that they could put a direct offer in as well. Some people don't know what that process is, not even that they're intimidated by it, but they just don't know. And it's hard to get any information. The department has been understaffed, so it's understandable. So I'm glad you're here. But I want to say, maybe doing some public forums, some mailers to the residents directly so that they're getting first dibs in the way of, so there's not so much outside competition. And maybe that's a loophole that we can do some outreach just to say, like you said, how do you do business with the city? How can I purchase a city-owned property? And then just lay that out for them, coming down to HED, fill out the application. Here's what a city-owned property is. This is the process. And then working with them through that, whether it would be referrals for credit improvement, referrals for funding for renovations too, or those types of mortgages like the home style loans or the 203K renovation loans. People don't really know about that information. It's not public. And if you don't know it exists, you don't know where to look. So I would love for us to be more informative so that our residents feel like they have access. But lastly, I want to touch on, there was a cannabis business who had an employee incentive program that if they worked there for X amount of years, they got something for housing and something to buy a car. I was wondering if it's possible, if it's legal for us to do or have an employee incentive housing program to access city-owned properties. We do have a residency requirement here, and sometimes there's too much competition in the private market. So is there a way to provide or create a program that would give accessibility to employees to purchase city-owned properties and work with them to build them up and move in there? And they have to live there for a certain amount of time or whatever. And that would be an incentive. We do have, some turnover. We do have issues, homelessness and things like that. And that would be one less thing that they would have to worry about and something that everyone needs help with. So I was wondering if that's possible.
That's a great suggestion, and I will look into that. I'm a big believer of, and I'm open to anything that we can do to get our residents in the business of owning their own homes, trying to move renters into home ownership. Especially any of we have a vacancy problem here, and I'd want that effort to include city residents to help us with combating vacancy and blight in the city. So whatever programs we can do, there are some current programs that we wouldn't have to reinvent the wheel that are offered by HMFA and other state agencies like first-time homeowners. In terms of communication, we can definitely try to do a more conservative effort, maybe by ward or by section, to have very informal groups, get members, representatives from those state programs to come in, and we'll try to make it like after hours. I also, with working on kind of more of the open space side and trying to get nonprofits involved in park grant park participation and things that they wanted to do, I would have the staff would prepare online, kind of almost like a Zoom meeting during the day for those individuals that can't come at nighttime. So whatever we can do in terms of try to get the information out, engage with residents, you know, we have different means of communication. We'll make sure to employ them.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Councilman Harrison.
Yeah, I'll be short and sweet. I enjoy what you were saying about the backlog. Majority of the directors have come up for the housing and economic development, never really ever talked about the backlog. And you talked about how you want to help build up your staff and your passion for the city and how you see a vision. I really think that we've been looking for a long time for somebody to sit in that position that you're in. And I think the mayor actually finally found one that's going to go beyond at all our expectations. So thank you for coming to our great city.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
I just have one last thing to ask. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, in Newark, they had the program where they talked to Section 8 about using the vouchers towards home ownership or something like that. So if that's something that we could look into as well, to see if we could do that here in the city of Trenton, because we do have quite a number of people that are on Section 8 and get the certificates or the vouchers. If they could use that, if we could bring that program here to allow them to use that towards purchasing of a home, then that's helping them with some of that equity, right? And giving them a foot in the door, because as my colleagues have said, we want people to have home ownership and not be subject to landlords. And unfortunately, we have some that are just not good landlords. And we need to fix and deal with them as well. But we also want to be a blessing to the people too. So if we could look into that, that would be greatly appreciated.
Yes, I will do that.
Thank you.
Councilwoman.
Thank you for your time. Mr. Garcia?
Certainly, Madam President. I understand at this time, as a previous practice, was the request of the mayor that a vote be taken
Yes.
immediately after.
Now,
Sounds good.
thank you.
With that being said, I'll read the title of the resolution. Resolution 24-12, resolution consenting to the appointment of Maciel Medina Ferreira as Director for the Housing and Economic Development Department for the City of Trenton. And Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve?
Yes,
So moved.
Second.
thank you.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman, thank you. Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilwoman
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes, congratulations, Director Ferreira. Mr. Garcia?
Certainly. Madam President, moving on with the agenda at this time, we have public comment.
Yes.
If I could have the public comment clipboard, please. Thank you, Mr. Beach. And Madam President, we have 5 individuals listed for public comment. The first one is Letitia Peters. And to the public comment is 5 minutes long. You may address any item that you wish. Please understand the council is not obligated to respond to you. Please do state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Yes. Letitia Peters, 1462 Stuyvesant Avenue, Trenton, New Jersey, 08618. Madam President and Trenton City Council members, it is my pleasure this evening to address you. Over the years, there has been lack of accountability in Trenton, New Jersey, which is jeopardizing the health welfare, or safety of the citizens or degrading the quality of life. And I would like to see a change in the city of Trenton now for the better. I have personally experienced unaccountability by Trenton city employees, Trentonians, landlords, renters, and even a police department. And this needs to be changed now. Have the city council determine a date for a meeting with the landlords. The renters are not properly following protocol for trash and recycling and or practicing sanitary standards. People have a right to and should be ensured of an environment free from excessive sound. Other cities have a noise or sensitive ordinance, and I would like to propose that Trenton do so. Even the Jersey City established a quality of life task force to fix neighborhood complaints of animal abuse, tenant landlord conflicts, and business infractions that impact residents. Since I've addressed the city council in March, there was a serious accident, just a couple of houses in May. Many Trentonians have expressed the serious speedings, and we have been told that the police have not have training, do not have the up-to-date speed traps, or no money was allocated for this. There will be a budget meeting in July. When will the budget be published? And I would like to include speed traps and training the police officials with speed trapping. And I would also like to include that Trenton libraries become a part of Mercer County library system, and the cleaning of the schools from mold and rodents, and any issue that will improve the quality of life of Trentonians and everyone who lives in Trenton. Thank you for your time.
Monroe Larimore. One more time. Monroe. Oh, there we go.
My name is Monroe Larimore. I live at 260 North Willow Street. We take care of our building. Now it is done very, very well. It's a beautiful place. And we don't have problems with trash and recycling. Everything is clean. I came to speak about my grandniece who was living in the park. She's homeless. And it's the second time I've come to ask her to be here so I can try to see if we can get a place for her to stay. But sometimes people just too complacent or whatever you might say. So anyway, as far as our city goes, you have over there by the railroad tracks a lot of trash that needs to be cleaned up right here next to City Hall. So we need to make sure that we keep our city clean. I have gone over to Henry Austin Clinic, cleaned up trash over there, weeds. Somebody in the park come over and help me. And I've done other cleaning and asked people in Public Works to come and clean up over there on North Willow Street where I live. Complained about a month about trash and empty lot. I believe it's city owned. So we really need to take care of our city. It's the best city in the world. I love it, and that's all I got to say.
Regina Thompson Jenkins.
Good evening, Council. Thank you. First, I want to say thank you for your professionalism and doing the work of the people for the city. It is amazing to see. I come on to you on behalf of my son, Trey Lane, and the honorary naming of a street on Kirkbride. My family, my grandparents moved there 60 years ago. I still own the house. It took me 10 years to go back to that street because that's where my son was shot down. I don't know if I can do what Trey did. He sacrificed his life. I don't know if I could did that, jumped in front of some bullets to save other people. But I try my best to pay it forward to others. What I do is, it was bigger than Trey. So I'm out here changing policies, not only on the city level, the state level, but on the federal level. Tomorrow I'll be in DC with 3,000 other people around the country doing this work for every town with gun violence. That is my mission, because if I couldn't save my son, I can save somebody else's son or daughter. And that's what I want to do in his honor. For me, going back to Kirkbride and New Willow is tarnishing. It represents everything that was bad. The bullet holes is still in the door. So if I can change that for hope, then I'm doing something right. Because those bullet holes represent everything that took away my pride and joy. And then when I go back to Kirkbride, I could see hope again. For 10 years, I could not walk on that street. It was my husband would go all the way around the country, all the way around the city to get me where I need to be. And I just thought, this is 12 years in the making for me. But it wasn't the time of the last council. This is the time. The professionalism, the dedication that you all have to this city. I'm invested in this city. I've been here all my life. I own several properties in the city. This is where it needs to happen. This time is now. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry, I cannot read this writing. I'm going to say there's a John here. I see initials J. I got you, man. Thank you. Carolyn Brooks, thank you.
Good evening. I'm not a public speaker, so forgive me for, I'm a city employee of 21 years. I live at 249 Hillcrest. I'm here to ask that my workers' comp money be released. I've been waiting over a year for the settlements finalized. It's just waiting for a final approval, and it's been dragging out for a year. According to my lawyer, there are several other cases that fit the same category, and that's why I'm here today. So thank you.
Madam President, those are all the individuals I have listed for public comment at this time. If it's your will, you may start with any member for civic comment.
Yes, thank you. Councilman Harrison.
First, I would like to start with congratulations tonight on the new director. I know you're going to do a wonderful job. I like to see the wonderful news that Maria Richardson's doing with all our wonderful parks. Our city's looking wonderful. I'd like to thank but he's not in the room right now, the police director. His staff came out over the weekend regarding a community outrage with loud music, a party that went on for hours and hours and hours. So I was grateful that the police department came out there, and I'm grateful that the community is reaching out to us up here on this council and the police department and identifying houses that are becoming a problem, also known as party houses. Because if it's during the middle of the day, I don't think people are, it would be concerned. What is it gets later in the day, you have people who have, you don't have to get up for a second job, or they have children, or they're elderly. They would like to sleep and not have to be dealing with that music all night. So I like to see us continually where this council is working together, which is great. Our directors are working hard, mayor's working hard, DCA is partnering with us. It's great to see the community always coming out and giving their input. So let's keep moving Team Trenton forward every day. Thank you. Have a blessed evening.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. Thank you to everyone who came up and spoke. And congratulations to Director Maciel. Welcome officially on board. Just a quick shout out. Huge thank you to Regina. Regina, I know that you've turned your pain into purpose, and we've all witnessed you take that tragedy and you've taken it, like you said, to the national level, to the federal level, and you're fighting every single day. And I praise you for all the strength that you have. You raised a fine young man, and you know how I felt about him. And so I just want to say thank you for you continuing to do what you do and continue to have the strength that you have. Whatever we can do to support, you know, we're always here for you. And I know I speak for everyone on this council because we've all been there with you for a long time, fighting the fight. So thank you. Just not too much to really speak on today. Just a couple of announcements. We do have, we're ending the year, so shout out to everyone with the proms that have happened, the proms that are going to happen, to all of our students who are getting awards next week from Trenton Central High School and the scholarships that they're getting. Just a salute to all of the kids. Just a couple of announcements. We're kicking off the 609 day activities, and tomorrow I'll be doing my one with the law enforcement officers and our students. I'm also the 21st partnering with Councilwoman Frisbee as we do our differently abled event day, and then also partnering with Councilman Harrison as we do a giveaway in East Trenton. So just make sure you come out. That's June 22nd on Euclid Avenue. So please come on out if you are able to do so. I think that's it for this evening. Thank you.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. First, I want to wish congratulations to our newest director, Maciel Medina Ferreira. Welcome and thank you. We look forward to working with you and having you help move the city forward even more. I think we have a really great team of directors right now, and our mayor's assembled a really awesome team, and I'm grateful for the staff that we now have here. I thank everybody who came up tonight. I do want to address Regina and John. I'm here with you. You know, we've been in the fight together with gun violence prevention or at least for me, for just over 8 years. I know you've been doing it longer with Trey. I'm like you, I don't know if I could have done that, the ultimate sacrifice of giving my life for others. So I commend you for raising such a phenomenal young man that he would actually put his life on the line for doing that. And it takes a lot of strength to do that, and your timing is always important. So we're grateful for this time that you have the strength now to go, and John for being her strength that she can lean on. You guys have been doing great work, and John, I know you're a quiet storm, but I know you are a storm. So thank you for the work that you have been doing. Miss Carolyn, she left, so I'll have to address that another time. I'm gonna go into our announcements. This Saturday, there will be a Wear Orange in the park. That is with Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. And we are partnering with the city and so many others. That is, we've been doing this for over 8 years since I've been a part of Moms. And it's for those families who have been impacted by gun violence. So we ask everyone who knows someone, or if you are that someone, to please come out, show support for those who have been impacted by gun violence. We're going to be marching on West State Street 2, Catwalder Park. I believe it's going to start at Calhoun Street. If not, we're going to be right in that vicinity. And that's at 9 a.m. And we will have a program beginning at 10 a.m. once we get to Catwalder Park. A lot of vendors. It will be very family friendly. So we hope that you will come out. As Councilwoman Gonzalez did say, we are partnering together on Differently Abled Day with our 609 Day. That is going to be again June 21st And that is going to be at the Capital Area YMCA from 6 to 8 p.m. Those of you who are differently abled, please come out. If you know someone or you want to support, your presence is always welcome. I want to remind everybody about Friday, June 14th is Juneteenth, and that's going to be at here at the City Hall, 319 East State Street. We're going to have the flag raising at 3 p.m. and celebration at 4 p.m. We'll have our Pride celebration as well here at City Hall. Actually, it's going to be downtown Trenton on South Warren and Lafayette at 2 p.m. and that's on June 22nd. That is our Pride. And then there is a special needs resource fair that's going to be happening on Friday, June 28th from 3 to 7 p.m. At Riverside Pediatric Medical Center, 325 Jersey Street, here in the city of Trenton. They ask that you RSVP. There is a flyer here if anyone cares to see it. And finally, I want to make mention of on Friday, June 14th, Smith Family Foundation is inviting everyone out. They're having their graduation ceremony for their students who have worked hard, have earned their degrees, and they are graduating from college. We'd love to have you come out and support. That's going to be 6 p.m. at 471 Parkway Avenue. And that's at the Smith Family Foundation or Calvary Pentecostal Church, whichever address you want to use, it's all the same. But that's at 6 p.m. on next Friday at 6 p.m., 471 Parkway Avenue. With that, I want to close out with the portion of the city's mission statement, which is recognizing that the people of Trenton have made us guardians of the public trust. We are committed to govern with integrity and fiscal responsibility, to seek excellence in the city's operations, and to serve all the city's people with respect and compassion. And also, Regina, I'll be joining you down in DC. I have been invited to speak on one of the panels, so I enjoy being in the fight with you. Have a good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming out.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Edwards.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I just want to start off by saying congratulations to Ms. Maciel Ferreira for her appointment to the Housing and Economic Development Department. God knows we definitely need the leadership and we need the work to be done and to turn the city around in a positive way. We need a lot of work on economic development and housing. I look forward to going to the Wear Orange this Saturday and participating in a march and a rally. Gun violence prevention and gun sense is near and dear to my heart since that march in 2012. And that year was such a horrific year that changed a lot of our lives. And Aunt Regina, you know, I miss Trey dearly, my god brother, and I keep him alive in the work that I do. And I appreciate you and I admire your strength and your sacrifice of all of your time. You go around this country and you advocate for mothers who can't even speak for themselves because they don't have the strength. So I pray for your continued strength, both of you, to do what you do. On a lighter note, the Young Professionals Network of New Jersey, the Mercer Trenton chapter, is hosting their first Pathways to Home Ownership workshop. It is a prelude panel discussion followed by a 3-room breakout session in various classrooms at the Mercer County campus downtown at Kearney Hall from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on July 18th. For those that are interested, this would be an event that will walk you through from the basic personal finance to funding opportunities for financing for home purchases and resources for homeowners to talk about how you can access funding and how to renovate your home and how to, you know, file your taxes, how to keep up with your property and build equity and things like that, so that you are tapping into wealth and building wealth in the community and for your families. So we want to invite you out. The email address to RSVP is ypnmercer@gmail.com. And you can reach out to me on any various platform as well. And in ending with, I look forward to saying yes when that resolution comes to rename the street to Trey's name in the honorary street naming. And I consider that a privilege and an honor. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Thank you to everybody for being here tonight. Congratulations to our new HED Director, Maciel Ferreira. Thank you. We look forward to seeing great things from you, and we appreciate the things that you have done already. June is Pride Month, and so to all of our friends and family, to our allies, the LGBTQIA+ community, we celebrate you this month. It is also Gun Violence Awareness Month, and so we acknowledge that gun violence is not right, and we commend those that do the work to constantly bring the message and the mission forward. With that being said, Regina, John, it will be a pleasure to be able to vote on the street renaming for Trey tonight. And thank you for your advocacy and the work that you do. We share a very special relationship. And so I consider it my honor to sit in this seat at this time to bring this forward. I would like to congratulate Councilwoman Jennifer Williams in her absence. She's being honored by the Women's Political Caucus of New Jersey, PAC, with the Trailblazer Award on June the 17th at the 2024 Women of Achievement reception that's happening at Cooper's Riverview from 3 to 6 p.m. And this is given to in recognition of leadership, civic involvement, and professional efforts that have helped make New Jersey a better place for women. So congratulations to Councilwoman Williams in her absence. I'm thrilled tonight that we have two resolutions coming forward. 24-237, a resolution endorsing Bill D 3240, which would allow voters who are 16 to 17 to vote in New Jersey school board elections. I'm hopeful that we would go ahead and move that forward, that we would support that state effort to engage our youth. That if it can be done at some appointed time, that it would follow through right here in Trenton, that it would be done, but in support of it nonetheless. And then we have resolution 24-238, which is the resolution endorsing the state legislation mandating the state agencies about the documents and websites in the multilingual format. Thank you, Councilwoman Gonzalez, for putting forth the resolution of support of the state legislation. It was my pleasure to work with you as we now added translate to Spanish, Polish, Liberian, French, Creole, and Haitian languages as to the documents in the website. It is important that we are inclusive of everyone. And while the intention and efforts were there to make sure that we are, I'm excited that tonight, hopefully this will pass and that we will be able to move forward in that effort in helping to bring forth proper translative services for those in need in the city. Again, thank you to everyone for coming out. We appreciate your time. Have a wonderful night, a great weekend, and take care. Mr. Garcia.
Certainly, Madam President. Moving on with the agenda and docket at this time, if you'd like to ask for an approval of the minutes, we have minutes of March 19th and recently circulated minutes of March 21st.
May I have approval of the minutes as so named?
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards. Yep. Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes. Motion
carried. Thank you.
If you could take a minute, point of order, Mr. Garcia, to mute that.
Certainly.
Thank you.
If one of the council members could just speak real quick, I want to make sure.
Hello.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All good. Thank you very much. Moving on to communications, petitions, and reports, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
Yes, may I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards. Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. And Madam President, moving forward after that with the docket, we have no ordinances. We have resolutions. Madam President, are there any items that the council would like to discuss at this time, or would you like me to read title by title?
Are there any questions by any council people for any resolutions that we would move from consent agenda? I would like 24-236 to be roll call, please.
Noted.
Also, I would like to make a statement about 24-234.
Will that remain on a consent agenda?
It will. I just want to make
Okay.
a statement about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I just had a, it
One
doesn't have to
second,
be.
Councilwoman.
Oh, sorry, excuse me, Council President.
Yes, Councilwoman Gonzalez. Thank you.
235, 236. I just had one question on those. Not that it has to get pulled, but I just had a question on those.
235 and 236.
36. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think so. No, not 235, 236 and 237.
And 237.
236 and 237.
Mr. Clerk, if I may, for the ones that there's questions, I would suggest we just pull them and roll call them, even if it's just questions. I think that'll make it go a little smoother.
It's all right with the council? Then very
And
well.
excuse the 236. That's already, so that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really 218. I'm sorry, because I made a mistake. 218, those with the workers' compensation. It's like 3 of those.
Okay, so
218, I'm sorry.
just 218?
Yeah, because once you answer 218, it'll answer the other ones that I have.
So roll call for 218 then? Are we looking at?
Just a
She just
question.
has a
Just
Yeah,
questions?
I don't want to remember.
Okay, understood.
So, excuse me 1 second, just a quick point of order. While I appreciate Mr. Mikio's suggestion, I want us to keep it going how we've been doing it so that there is no confusion. So we will ask the question and then we'll yield back to consent if it is answered satisfactorily.
Madam President, what I'll do is after your questions are over, I'll go ahead and go back with you to review just to make sure we have a consent agenda set.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council people with any other resolutions that you have questions on? Okay. Hearing none, we'll start with 24-235.
That's not, I think that's at the wrong number, Council
I'm
President.
sorry.
It's just
Okay.
218.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yep, yep.
24-218.
So I guess for Scott, just question, because I see there's we have three different agencies representing, law firms that representing us for workers' compensation.
Yes.
I was just curious as to, like, I thought we would just use one. Is there a reason? Or is it just because it's a different types of workers' compensation?
No, I think, and I think Director Bridges here, his answer would be, it's just good to have a roster of law firms, at the ready to be able to help us with these matters.
Okay, thank you.
Can it remain on consent?
Yeah, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So 218 will remain on consent agenda. Okay.
Madam President, just a humble reminder, it's my understanding you have 2 walk-on resolutions. Is that correct?
Yes, we have 2 walk-on resolutions before us that will be allowed due to the nature of the resolutions. If Director Richardson could come forward and just speak briefly as to the need for this so that council can be apprised as to what they're for. Thank you.
And Madam President, would you like me to read those by title?
Yes.
Certainly. If you'd like, I'll read them by title prior to any questions.
Okay.
Thank you. First one is a resolution authorizing a contract with VMG Group, 288 Cox Street, Roselle, New Jersey, 07203 for roof replacement at the Trenton Health Center, 218 North Broad Street, Trenton, New Jersey, 08608, in conjunction with the County of Mercer Cooperative Contract Purchasing System Agreement, CK09 Mercer 2022-10, in an amount not to exceed $145,795.20 for a period of 1 year from the date of award. The second walk-on resolution being walked on by the Council President will be resolution authorizing the appropriation of $500,000 from the funds allocated to the City of Trenton under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 for repair and improvements to the City of Trenton Health Center located at 218 North Broad Street, Trenton, New Jersey, 08608 of City of Trenton Parks for the Department of Health and Human Services. Go right ahead, Ms. Richardson.
Yes, basically, good evening, Council President. Thank you for walking these resolutions through. Well, I will speak first about the allocation, the appropriation of the $500,000 that will allow us to address certain emergency situations at the health department in 218 North Broad. Recently, because of the rain, it started to rain inside the building. And so right now we are having mold issues and that sort of things, because a portion of the roof misfunctioned, a portion of the ceilings collapsed and damaged the HVAC system. We have a whole lot of different issues there. So that's why we presented this emergency resolution for appropriation from ARP.
Any council members have any questions? The resolution numbers? Mr. Garcia, do we have a resolution number? Because we walked in on or not yet?
No, I can go ahead and assign resolution
Yes,
numbers
if
for
you
each
could.
of those. And Madam President, if it was okay with you, I was going to ask you if it's my understanding that one of these has to be accepted before another. So I was just going to ask if we could go roll call in order for those two items.
That's fine.
Thank you. Are there any other questions, or are we at that point?
No, we're done.
Okay. If that's the case, then I'll go ahead and read them in order.
Thank you, Director
And I'll
Wilson.
assign numbers referencing the docket afterwards. The first resolution I believe that needs to be read is the resolution authorizing the appropriation of $500,000 from the funds allocated to the city of Trenton under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 for repair and improvements to the city of Trenton Health Center located at 218 North Broad Street, Trenton, New Jersey, 08608 of the city of Trenton Parks for the Department of Health and Human Services. And Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. And the number two walk-on resolution and going in order would be resolution authorizing a contract with VMG Group, 288 Cox Street, Roselle, New Jersey, 07203 for roof replacement at Trenton Health Center, 218 North Broad Street, Trenton, New Jersey, 08608 in conjunction with the County of Mercer Cooperative Contract Purchasing System Agreement, CK09 Mercer 2022-10 in an amount not to exceed $145,795.20 for a period of 1 year from the date of award. Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
And Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried.
And
Thank
so
you.
again, Mr. Garcia, I'm sorry, you're gonna assign numbers
I will
after
assign
the
numbers to
meeting?
those because at this present time, if I look at the agenda, I know the numbers are not in sequential order, but
Okay.
I will assign numbers afterwards.
Thank you.
And-
And before we continue, I
Mhm.
just have a statement or a question for Mr. Cruz, for BA Cruz, in reference to 24-236. No, not that one. I'm sorry, the one about the taxes. 24-234. The resolution authorizing the use of estimated tax levy for the purposes of the third quarter taxes. BA Cruz and I had a conversation about itemizing the tax bills moving forward, so that when our residents get the tax bills, that they know where the increase, or if there is a change, where it's coming from, if it's the municipality, if it's the county, if it's the library, if it's the school district. I say this because recently our county executive said that there would be a minor tax increase in them fixing or righting the wrongs of things that had happened as he's getting his administration in order. So there's going to be a minimal tax increase coming from the county side. I just want to make sure that our constituents are aware of where, again, any increases are coming from, so that they understand and are educated as to what's happening on their tax bill. So Mr. Cruz, BA Cruz, have you looked into that, or is that going to be forthcoming to have our tax bills itemized in that way?
Yes. Good evening, Council. Adam Cruz, Business Administrator. The conversation has not been had with the tax collector because she was away at a conference.
Okay.
She is now back, but the conversation hasn't happened yet. However, we are gonna do the best that we can to ensure that the residents are aware, as you mentioned, where the increases are coming from. I know in the past, the city has not increased taxes for 3.5 years in a row. You know, I believe other entities such as the library, the schools. I know the county at one point, I think we were blaming the county one year for an increase, but that was incorrect.
But it wasn't them.
Exactly. So we will find ways to advise our residents, you know, at the request of council.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I think that that's important for them to know. Thank you, BA Cruz. We appreciate you. Okay. That being said, 2, 3. I'd like a motion to approve the following 4 consent agenda. Resolution 237, 24-237, 238, 313, 213, I'm sorry, 214, 215, 216, 217, 235, 218, 219, 220, 221, 222, 223, 224, 225, 226, 227, 228, 229, 230, 231, 232, 233, 234, excuse me. May I have a motion to approve those for consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman, excuse me, Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. And Madam President, that leaves us with a roll call resolution being, was that 24-236? And that will be the lone roll call resolution, correct?
Will we have to roll call the 2 resolutions that we're walking on as well?
Oh, we've done roll call for those and a vote for those, so that the remaining resolution for roll call would be this 236, correct?
Very good, thank you.
Understood. Okay, with that being the case, Madam President, if there's no discussion, would you like to ask for a motion to approve?
Is there any discussion regarding resolution 24-236 by council?
Madam President?
Councilwoman Edwards.
Thank you. I just wanted to make a statement on this resolution. First and foremost, I want more than anything than to see businesses come to Trenton, open in Trenton, whether they're bred here or from the outside, because it helps our economy, it helps our residents, it helps our city. And I want more than to see them successful. So I say that to say, I cannot support this resolution. I believe that this business has shown public malice against other businesses in the city, has publicly attacked other businesses in the city. It's a part of our ordinance that cannabis businesses are to support businesses and residents in our community as a whole, and to sponsor things as they see fit as their contribution to our city. And this business has publicly attacked other businesses when they did not get their way. There was an event earlier this year that this business attempted to sponsor, and because that business had not responded to them yet, they went on a rampage on social media to try to shut down this event, to try to get people to not attend. And I felt like that was so unethical and very unprofessional and very uncalled for. And there was other businesses since then. There's been other people been attacked by the owner of this business. And I don't feel like this is what Trenton needs. We need professionalism. We need ethical businesses that understand community, that's not going to attack people, that's going to come here and do business and be a contributing member of our society and not a hindrance. No business deserves to be treated the way that this business treated them. So I just wanted to go on a record and say that. So when my vote comes, it will not be any question as to why. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other council person? Okay, Mr. Garcia, let's go to the vote.
Certainly. Roll call. And just to recap, I apologize, the motion came from for this?
We didn't do it. Can I have a motion for 24-236? Thank you.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards?
No.
Councilwoman Frisbee?
Abstain.
Noted. Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Abstain.
Noted as well. Councilman Harrison?
Abstain.
Once again, noted. And Council President Feliciano?
Abstain.
Motion failed. Moving on. Council President, I believe we have reached, and give me one moment here, to ordinances for first reading and introduction. Ordinance 24-043, an ordinance to revise certain positions, fixing the salary ranges, therefore, and setting certain regulations for the implementation of same for construction official. And Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
Yes, may I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 24-44, an ordinance authorizing the honorary street naming of Kirkbride Avenue to Trey Lane Way.
May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. The second came from Gonzalez, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Joyfully, yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Absolutely, yes.
Motion carried. Moving on, Madam President, I believe we have reached the end of the docket. If it is your wish, you may ask for a motion to adjourn.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Certainly. Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes. Yes.
You sure? All right, positive. Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
And Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried, meeting adjourned. Thank you.